loading snacks.
What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? Your boy Gage is here in the building with Jokes.
Yo.
And you are now tuned into Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today, Jokes, today, we are going to, obviously, we have to discuss the new Avengers Doomsday trailer, the teaser. The teaser. We are going to discuss the unfortunate loss of one Vince Sampella and the impact on the games industry. And then, as we prepare to go into Christmas a couple of days from now, we're going to talk about what qualifies a movie as an actual Christmas movie. Which is a thing for some reason, somehow, over all of these years, I don't feel like we've ever discussed.
I don't think so. Not at all.
Yeah, so clearly we got to do that. What up, Dom? But before we do that,
same to you as well,
happy holidays. What's up, Heather? Thank you. Same to you. Jokes, get the link to our website up.
Yes, sir.
Best way to find out what's going on with us is that website there. And also check us out on Patreon. It's really one of the best ways to support us outside of your viewership and your clicks and likes. Patreon gives you the opportunity to support us monetarily so we can keep doing the things that we're doing. And we greatly appreciate it.
What up?
What's happening, Lisa? And Jokes, on that note, it's time for the 619 Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, and Kerbert Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Indeed, we do. Now, Jokes. Today, I think things really started to surface. I mean, I guess there was a little bit of news yesterday, but things really started to surface about the passing of Vince Sampella, who was co-creator of Respawn Entertainment. That will probably be what most people nowadays know him from and recognize him from. But Vince is more or less a pioneer within recent gaming history. I'd say over the last 20 years. He was one of the entities responsible for the creation of Medal of Honor, which eventually they left the Medal of Honor franchise and moved over and started Call of Duty. So this is one of the co-creators of Call of Duty, which for all intents and purposes over the last 20 years has been the biggest game almost every year since it released. Now, that was work that was done with Activision, and later Vince and a lot of the original team that were there that really put Call of Duty together left and created Respawn. Respawn ended up under EA, under Electronic Arts, and their first game there was Titanfall. Have you ever played Titanfall?
Yeah, I played Titanfall.
Both 1 and 2?
I know I finished the first one. The second one, not so much. I think I played a little bit of the second one.
Titanfall 2 is arguably one of the greatest first-person shooters ever made. People love the design of it. Love some of those stages are the best stages that have ever. I mean, for solo play, first-person shooting, just kind of unmatched as far as that's concerned. And it's out of Titanfall and the Titanfall universe that was birthed Apex Legends. So we got Apex Legends, from that same mind. And, they are also the strength behind the most recent, the Star Wars Jedi series, those first two games, which are, look, personally not my favorites, but very well liked.
Very
I
solid.
would say loved um, by a lot of people. So, um, it looks like Vince unfortunately passed away in a car accident. There's video footage. These days, who knows how real that is, of the accident. But um, that's a little bit less important. It's a little bit more important to just kind of take a moment to kind of pick up the legacy. Um, I know that the creative community, the video game community, is shocked and is really hurting at
Hmm.
the moment. And so I just think it's important to kind of to take a moment in an industry that is really, truthfully, what Loading Snacks started as was a video game podcast. That's
Hmm.
where we come from. And it is born out of our love for video games and using video games and being online, talking to each other, and having
Hmm.
that as a way for us to communicate with one another and spend time with one another, even with people who we didn't know yet. Um, allowed us to build a community that was bigger than the people we already physically knew.
Hmm.
Um, and the kinds of conversations that we were having within that space were, the 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 birth of deciding, well, let's just take those regular normal conversations that we're having and
Hmm.
let's put them out there for people. So um I just think it's important to acknowledge it. You have anything you want to say?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's very unfortunate. It's it always is a sad part when we lose someone that has, contributed to something major in different people's lives. And in this case, it's being a part of the video game community. Um, it's one thing when you've been a part of one project that has influenced the lives of a lot of people, but when you've gone from numerous projects that have been, major front running titles for a very long time, it makes that your name more known within the world because of that. And of course, Medal of Honor, one, like, unfortunately, still one of the greatest franchises that they were able to create that kind of just sadly slipped away. Call of Duty being the biggest name, honestly, of the franchises. That's a mark that you have left. And it's something that people will forever be able to attach his name to in any shape or form that you do for it. So it's a sad loss for the community, but um I'm happy he was able to leave a legacy of things behind him that people will be able to remember for, honestly, decades on decades of time to come.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. um yeah, again, one more time, just rest in peace to Vince Sampella. And all of the prayers and well wishes to his friends and family, and to the creative teams that he worked with and or led. Now, there's been there's been some back and forth about Avengers Doomsday, what's happening with the trailers. Our own Noah seems, for whatever reason, to be very, very upset about that trailer not being attached to the new Avatar movie. Like, he heard somewhere it was going to be. Now, I don't know what his sources are, where he got it from. I know
Well,
that there was talk about it happening, and
apparently it
Disney just
was
owned it.
attached. Apparently it was attached, but it
Yeah,
was only IMAX showings, apparently, I believe, that got it. Regular showings and some of the early ones, I believe, didn't get it.
look, here's the thing. Far be it from me to
Hmm.
try to understand
The reason.
what, yeah, like what like to me, if you're doing a trailer, you want as many people to see it as possible, generally,
Hmm.
right? So why you wouldn't attach it to everything,
Right.
beyond me, beyond me. But having people go, oh man, I really want to see that trailer, so I'm gonna buy tickets to go see Avatar in
Avatar.
IMAX specifically. I'll spend the extra money. Maybe that's, like, maybe that's what it is. there have been trailers leaking for this movie for like the past 2 weeks. They've been
Facts.
all over the place.
They've been fighting to keep them things off the interwebs.
And honestly doing a relatively terrible job of it. It's gonna be honest.
Hydra. It's like for every one they take down, like 5 more pop up. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, look, we've talked about, like, again, I can understand why you might attach this to the Avatar.
mhm.
But I'll be honest, I don't really see the hype around Avatar. I don't see the hype around this Avatar the way I saw the hype around the last
The
Avatar.
original.
I just don't. Yeah. Well, not even the original, just the second
So,
one, the last one. Definitely not as like it was around the first one. The hype was the 3D. Like that's, you know, I don't really see the hype. And so I don't know that this was necessarily a great movie to attach it to. Numbers wise, I guess it's doing okay. Like it seems to be doing all right, but I don't hear nor do I see people other than Noah talking about how amazing the movie is. Now I have heard people, including Noah, talking about how incredible the CGI is in Avatar. But outside of that, like I don't know. And I'm not a fan of the Blue Avatar franchise. I'm not a fan really of the franchise at all. Technically outside of the technical achievements in CGI. So, you know, remains to be seen. I don't know. Said he's going to see it again. And maybe he'll see it in IMAX, and maybe that means he'll see some form of a teaser trailer for Doomsday that is different from what we got released to the full internet today. On that note, let's watch that.
Got it.
Yeah, we should, like, along with everybody else, let's take our copyright strikes like champs.
Let's take it for this. That's a definite.
Yeah. Product placement. Gotta get that triumph in there.
Triumph in there.
Do you think they de-aged him?
A little bit. I do.
A little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like they do. And I feel like it's probably going to be like a strategic type of thing why they did that. With the timer.
Bro, listen. Let's run this down. I have several questions. Starting with, I think, obviously, first and foremost, is this what we want? Do we want Steve Rogers back in Avengers Doomsday?
Personally, I'm good with Steve Rogers being back.
I'm not asking if you're good with it. I'm asking if this is what we want. Is that what you want?
Depending on how we are going to do the play with Robert Downey Jr. and being Dr. Doom, I feel like that to me makes it a little more important.
But we know we're doing that. So what do you mean if we're going to do the play?
Well, no, I guess to say is how the Doom character is created per se. Like if it is how, we've had different rumors like this is the Tony Stark maybe that never got adopted by his parents, like whatever story it may be. I think it'll be kind of an interesting play to have, the Steve Rogers come face to face with Tony Stark once again. So I think that is a right thing to do, even if, because like for right now, we don't even know, like they show this and this could be like Steve Rogers is in the movie for all of 10 or 15 minutes just to set up some grand scheme of a title or storyline or whatever it is. So I think it's the right thing. Like, I know a lot of people are upset because it's like, oh, and specifically they say in the at the end, Steve Rogers will be in Doomsday, not necessarily Captain America. A lot of people are like, well, Sam Wilson is here. Why would we want to bring back Steve Rogers to also be Captain America at the same time? I'm like, listen, Captain Americas, they both exist in the comics at the same time. They work together. Like, let it play out. But I think, like, it's hard to say if how much further the MCU is truly going to go. And if we're looking to eventually, completely, wrap a bow on this to do something with it, I think bringing back the Steve Rogers character is the right thing to do.
Look, let's go ahead and hit speculation station. Why don't we? Because a lot of people are saying that, look, bringing Steve Rogers back to have some sort of a fight with a Robert Downey Jr., even if that person is technically Victor Von Doom, and we don't know for a fact that he is Victor Von Doom. It might just be Tony Stark. Which I think the internet will hate, but it's possible. Okay? So I have not seen anything that says that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to play Victor Von Doom. I've not seen that. I've seen that he is coming back to play Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom.
They could be very different things if they want within the MCU. People are saying, but just having them go against each other is basically just like you're giving us Civil War 2, or you're giving us what Civil War should have been, which now is like, well, it's not really Doomsday. Just like for a lot of people, they feel like Captain America Civil War wasn't really a Captain America movie. It was an Avengers movie, and they should have just called it Avengers whatever Civil War. Okay. Here's the thing. Let's talk about the timeline, where people are, what's going on, and what has happened. Steve Rogers went back in time to put all the gems back. Right? To put all the Infinity Stones back. He never came back.
Oh.
He stayed in the past. Got
Peggy. Got that life.
Clearly had a baby. Which is a new twist.
Very much so.
That is easily the most important thing about this teaser. Is the baby. Okay? Because the question is, where is this baby? Where has this child been? And what powers / abilities does this child have in the current MCU timeline? Because Steve is still in the current timeline. He came back as an old man and passed the shield over to who our current Captain America is in Sam Wilson. Meaning that child is definitely an adult.
Getting grown somewhere.
With super soldier blood in his DNA. Not unlike Isaiah Bradley, who we also know does exist, right? So, where's this child? What is going on with that? And the whole Doomsday thing could completely ride on a mistake of some sort that Cap made when he went back to set things the way they were supposed to be. If he missed something, if he made a mistake, if just by staying back in time, he caused something to be different that would not have been different otherwise. Not necessarily in the timeline that we just saw, which is technically our timeline, but in a different timeline. Mind you, for all intents and purposes, all timelines exist now. If you watch Loki season 2, TVA has an existence, but Loki becomes the god of stories technically the god of time, and
Mhm.
he holds all of
All
the
of it.
threads of time, and they all exist as essentially the tree. Lost my man. My man got kicked. So man,
Hmm.
Jokes, what we doing?
I don't know. Sounds like we wanted something. And this may be Disney saying, "Nah,
Hey,
shut your mouth."
hey. Um. So here's the thing: what the MCU does better than anybody else does is push room for speculation,
Hmm.
for questions
Love
and
it.
thoughts of where they going, what are they doing, why are they doing it, how are they doing it. So let's just Doom's coming back.
Hmm.
Well, Doom is coming. Technically, RDJ is coming back.
Uh-huh.
Steve Rogers is coming back. Is Natasha coming back?
Technically, maybe there's a possibility. Now, we've never
Will
seen
the
like,
only thing that keeps her from coming back be whatever missteps she took with suing Disney?
ooh, that too. But I guess the question will be is, if the Soul Stone is returned, maybe does the soul that it was exchanged for return? Like, I feel like that would be the one of the more logical ways potentially to do it outside of just jumping back in time, obviously, to a different point where she still exists. But maybe in doing, Steve Rogers returning the stone, it does something that gives us a version of her back, but maybe it's not completely the same Natasha that we've known through the series of movies all together.
Have you seen the theory that the stones still exist? They just exist in characters within the MCU now.
Hmm. That could make sense
So,
because
like,
like
go ahead.
because I think they do something similar to that, like within the comics, where like every like certain individuals were like the embodiments of each one of the stones per se. Like I know it's a little bit of a different characteristic to do it, but I could see at least where the powers themselves could reside, but maybe they can't be, used in the same way as like a Thanos taking every single one of them and putting them into a gauntlet to be able to wield the power.
Well, like the reality stone,
Hmm.
like every stone throughout the MCU, all stones, whatever ability or power they have, has always wielded itself in that color.
Hmm.
Right? So like the space slash time stone, the Tesseract, blue, whatever, like we now have characters that a character that can manipulate or do things like that. Wanda clearly, again, according to the TVA comics, is still
Hmm.
alive in the TVA at the basement of the TVA, but she clearly has the power of the Reality Stone, right?
Hmm.
That like technically, when Thanos destroyed the stones, that energy had to go somewhere,
Somewhere.
right? And like these are characters who don't necessarily become more powerful or begin to be able to wield those things or see those things until after the fact. It's a very interesting theory. Um, and it's possible in some way because you do again see those powers begin to manifest themselves in other ways. Um, so it's an interesting thought. Where's Adam Warlock?
Chilling. Oh, I don't know. Like that is that's some power right there. But it's like honestly, I think the term is just chilling right now until something bad happens that Adam's got to actually show up where maybe he can be some help for.
I mean, look, man, if you've seen some of the teasers, there's shots of like White Vision sitting on the couch with other like we know that there's a lot of characters that are coming. We know that the movie itself has wrapped,
Mm-hmm.
right? That like they're like we're done. Now we just the shooting is wrapped. Now what they're gonna do
Mm-hmm.
from a visual standpoint and kind of putting the spin on certain things. But even when a movie is wrapped, there's nothing that necessarily stops them from going back and doing some reshoots or changing some things around. You know how they like to keep things secret. And a lot of times, even
Mm-hmm.
the people who are in it don't always know exactly what's going on. And so they could invite somebody to come back and do a reshoot, and other people don't even know.
Yeah.
It just, so many things can happen and can change at any given time. But if you're doing a teaser like this, to me it says you are setting up to have other teasers that are coming down the line that are going to do the same thing, that are going
Yeah.
to say, hey, so and so will be there in.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, it seems like from what I've been seeing, like obviously some of the leaks that have come out have been true based off of this, but the plan looked like it was to have there were supposed to be 4 of these leading up into February, which I'm
right,
guessing
Super
maybe
Bowl.
was going to lead into like maybe the actual trailer dropping Super Bowl night.
Yeah,
So
which is why I would never. There was no part of me that ever believed that they were going to attach this trailer to Avatar. Because if
mhm.
you want to get your movie in front of the biggest crowd you can possibly get it in front of at any given time, that's generally where you do it. In terms of the regular public, it's Super Bowl.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah. So 4 teasers.
Hmm.
What are the 4 teasers? We got
We
we
got
got
Cap.
well,
It's
we got Steve
Steve
Rogers.
Rogers.
We got Steve
Um,
Rogers.
Supposedly the next one, which has apparently also kind of leaked as well too, has been Thor.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost looks like we're going for like the original, like the core characters,
Right.
which, like you
So
said,
Banner.
like potentially Banner coming back, like you said, Natasha. I almost feel like Natasha, but I feel like there's going to be maybe this is where we get the Tony Stark. Maybe it'll say Tony Stark will return in Doomsday, but maybe his name gets like scratched out or something like that, and then it just turns to like Doctor Doom or
I
something
mean,
like
all
that. We
right,
still
you're reaching, but you have a tendency. I'm with it. Like let's,
that's
you know what I
what
mean? For the
in one
fences,
of
why not?
these decades of reaching, some form is going to eventually latch on after decades.
I don't think that's the
Uh,
way your luck works. You're very lucky, but I don't think that's how your luck works. I don't think that's how it works.
um, but
Okay.
I think
I mean,
those would
here's
be.
the thing. This is what I'm thinking.
Mm,
There's a part of me that says, all right, if we're doing this, we're going OG,
mm,
original Avengers. So again, who do we need to comprise that, right? Obviously it's Tony and Steve.
mm,
We need Banner.
mm.
We need Hawkeye. We need Natasha. Who else? Who
That's
else
the
do we have
core.
besides Thor? Like we know Thor.
That's that's the core. I
All
don't
right,
know if you want to
hold on.
include like what you got.
Nick Fury.
That was literally the one I was getting ready to say. Like Colson.
No, I just don't feel like you like. Here's the thing, man. I feel like that boat has sailed.
So,
I just feel like that boat has sailed. Now, do I feel like he might be in something? Yeah. But I
mm,
don't think you do. I don't think you do a teaser around it. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is if you're only doing 4 teasers, let's just go
mm,
with that theory that there's 4 teasers and then you're having the actual trailer. You've
mm,
done Cap. So who are the other 3? Let's say the other one is Thor,
mm.
right? I would say Banner. We know he's alive, right? So
Oh,
like
we won.
I would say Banner has to be involved in one of those teasers. Who's our who do we again, Natasha's dead,
Hmm.
quote unquote, and Tony's dead, quote unquote. So who else? Hawkeye? Like, is the 4th one Hawkeye? Is it
That would
those
be. It
4
would make
because the
sense.
other ones are gone? Like, if you just go with technically who's supposed to be alive still,
Hmm.
that's our 4.
Maybe the 4th one is a. Maybe it's not a core, and maybe it's just maybe whoever the 4th person is going to be new. Maybe we keep the trio
Yeah, but
with
but see, to me, when you say new, you mean somebody that we haven't been introduced to yet, or you just mean
no,
like a
not
newer
necessarily
character, not one of the
not the
original.
original Avengers. So
All right, so
um,
who is it? Wanda,
I don't know, Wanda, maybe Doctor Strange.
White Vision, could be Strange.
I think Strange probably would make. I don't want to say makes the most sense, but just out of who's, I don't want to say who's available, but like
Ant-Man?
that would be a funny one for them to do. Um, but maybe Strange, just because um,
What about Rhodey?
Rhodey could be. You know what? I didn't think about Rhodey, especially with Armor Wars is still supposedly a thing. So
Is it though?
I don't listen. I
Is it
said
though?
supposedly. I said
Supposed to be a
supposedly,
movie. Yeah. I mean, you're right. Okay.
but I don't know. Maybe that's kind of the Braves. Like, well, they all have a connection to Tony Stark, and maybe that's where we bring. Maybe the four have that connection, and
You know
so
what? I'm
when
gonna be real with you. I bet you it's Spider-Man.
I was thinking that, and that would be a little surprise because like,
Because
we
they
know he's
just
in
wrapped
the
Brand New Day.
yeah.
We know that fourth movie is coming. So for them to just do a joint and it be Tom Holland and be like, Spider-Man will return in Avengers Doomsday, that might seal it.
That could be it because those would be the four I think right now that would probably have the biggest connections to Tony, and like
For sure, if he's coming back, like that's pretty major.
and we bring one of them like say obviously we bring Steve Rogers back. All I know like we're still trying to figure the whole Doom aspect to the Tony aspect, like because if somehow he shows up and one of them see him and think that it's actually their Tony Stark, one of them's taking an L, a major L, and I just don't
Yeah.
know which one it would be. It ain't gonna be Spider-Man. There's no way they take Spider-Man like permanently off the board. But like, I don't want to. Thor has dang, they all have. Steve has a child. Thor has a child. Hulk has a child technically. So maybe there's a togethering
Hawkeye
thing
has a
with the children.
has a prodigy. Like they got,
There's some
got
ways that we can connect it in different ways here for it. And hey, Steve is not supposed to that thing they could go off. Steve is not supposed to have a child because he went back and got that thing called life, and maybe that's the mistake.
I'm positive.
And and if you include like say Fantastic Four, Sue has a child. I don't know if it's something to do with the children that's creating this issue with why like Tony does have a child. Unfortunately, he was taken
Tony
from
has a
said
child.
child.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is like the revenge type of thing that this, or maybe this Tony, if it's not the normal one, never got to experience having a child, but he learns that the Tony of that world had a child. He's going to try to take them all from those. I don't know. I love being able to do this, but we're probably all the way incorrect on this shape or form. But
Yeah, I mean, look, bro, there is something wrong with the way the timeline exists. I'm just gonna be real. Cause I gotta be 100 with you. Cause if Steve goes back in time, puts everything back, and then stays back in time with Peggy, right? And clearly it's after a certain point. Like it has to be after Peggy has already created Shield. After like it has to be all of that. Like she's done and she's retired and whatever. But like Steve went in the ice, came out of the ice, and then she like he went in the ice, came out of the ice. That means that he was alive with her while technically he was in the ice.
yeah.
That also means that him and Peggy's child would have been around for the entire time that everything happened from like Avengers on once Cap came out of the ice.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
he would have to be there and have to exist. Plus, we're getting ready to get a Wonder Man show. And Wonder Man, let's not get into his abilities and whatever. Like, that's going to be a little too much. But So there's a child that exists that has been there the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
That for all intents and purposes should have some skills. And Cap couldn't, he would have had to have stayed kind of off the grid, which is why I feel like the
Way off.
farmhouse thing
Mm-hmm.
with, whatever else was probably, that means he was hiding the whole time while all the other stuff was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's kind of crazy thing, especially, with that super soldier serum running through that blood potentially. And they could have had an extra help during some periods of time.
Yeah, but it also destroys certain pieces of the timeline
I
because
know.
Steve coming back out of the ice and then visiting Peggy when she's in the hospital and she has like dementia and like remembers him but can't remember him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Yeah, I owe you that dance or whatever." That wouldn't necessarily happen to her because she, you know what I mean? Like she wouldn't have had, again, unless the dementia actually did still happen. And at the point where he goes back and visits her, she's not, she's still remembering having lost him and isn't remembering the fact that he was there with her the whole time. And so it ends up not being happy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like here's the thing. I know we say in Feige we trust. However, currently I'm going with in Russo's we trust.
Oh, 100. Oh, that is a 100% facts on that one. Like, I got to put
Let
some
it
of these
ride.
because, like, hey, listen, everybody's been chiming in. We got to put a couple of these up here.
So what do we have? I really feel like Disney being Disney, they're going to bring a mutant in. Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mutants are definitely coming, and I think that's a lot of what the Doomsday thing is about. And I think that the timelines being as they are, we're definitely getting mutants that we already are aware of.
Mm-hmm.
We know right now, as far as where they are, it has basically been established that Miss Marvel is a mutant.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we know that exists. We know that's a thing. Who else they bring in? That's the part that remains to be seen. Like how they tackle that part. But I definitely think that's happening. What else we got, Joe?
We got Hydra Cap, World Breaker, Hulk set those two up, and Doom can make himself to be the good guy, making him the smartest alive, meanwhile shaping Battle World. I mean, hey, Hydra Cap, I mean, there's a couple ways they could do it, especially with technically like the two Steve Rogers that exist. If they could, like, one in the ice and one live, they could just easily twist one of them and make the Hydra Cap if they wanted to. But like, if you take away Steve's child, ain't no telling what that dude would do. So,
well, I mean, look, I also think that when you're talking about having alternate timelines that exist, you could do anything.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So here's the thing. I would say I don't think Disney has the balls to do a Hydra Cap. People that run in the comics
I
was
love that.
so divisive. Do you though?
Hey, listen, just the
I think
flip.
I think you like the idea of them flipping Cap on his head and making him. But like, did you really read the books? Like, did you
No,
really like what happened? Because like,
I actually read that whole run of Captain America when they flipped him to Hydra. I think the way that he, like, good Cap came back, I think may have been a little fluke the way that they did it. But it was just, just flipping him, and this whole entire time you thought he was, on the side of Shield and doing, like, I think it's a cool thing to do. But I think with the way, we don't even know what they're setting up for Doomsday. Like, I feel like we may have passed the boat on possibly doing like an evil Steve Rogers at the minute, other than making a Civil War 2, and then it be like the Sam Wilson versus the Hydra Cap type thing. But realistically, the Cap, Steve Rogers Cap, probably would body Sam. So, but that should be an interesting.
that's not even. There's no question about that. That's not even
So,
questionable. So like I think we're way past Hydra. I don't
Yeah.
think we're bringing Hydra back or bringing Hydra up even in the slightest. Like I think we're so far past that I don't think they would do that. I think if there was a way that they were going to try to make a quote unquote evil version of Cap, I don't think they would do it. I don't think they would tie it to Hydra at all. Now I could see them potentially doing something with Cap where Cap maybe has issues with super powered individuals that got their powers in ways other than how he got his. Like that just naturally, you know what I mean? Like I could see him potentially being on the side of quote unquote the government when it comes to not being real happy with mutants and feeling like maybe they need to, even though that version of Cap that we're used to is one who was against the Sokovia Accords, right? Which again was technically the Mutant Registration Act, but in the MCU. So him being against the Sokovia Accords, he also wasn't where somebody like Tony Stark was, where Tony Stark was like, I'm in love with Pepper, and the idea of not being able to spend time with Pepper, or like literally saying like, I felt like doing this was going to give me an out where I wouldn't, not only even when I felt like I needed to go save the world, I wouldn't be allowed to, and that would let me spend time with her because he wanted to have a family and he wanted to have a kid and he wanted to protect the world. A version of Cap that has a kid that wants to protect the world and feels like, he might have a different outlook and be like, you know what? Maybe Tony was right. You know what I'm saying? And we do need to have some form of regulation in place because this is also a Cap who, having had to go through time to put everything back, is now at a place where he goes, look at what we did when we didn't have, you know what I mean, those things in place or whatever, right? And like, you can't technically plan for a Thanos. You know what I mean? You just kind of can't. But you could have prevented an Ultron. Like this is a version of Cap that, you see what I'm saying? So like I think that there is space for a Cap who feels and thinks very differently, and it will be very interesting to have that played against the fact that it's the same Cap. It's, you know what I mean? It's the same Cap, but again, that same Cap would be the Cap that gave Sam the shield at the end of that last movie.
Very much so.
So that
Very much
mindset
so.
would have to be different. So who comes to talk to him and tells him something different or shows him something different? And if they did that earlier on when he was first having a kid, to me that would have probably prevented him from giving the shield to Sam. Like it just is. But again, that's a lot of what the fun is being able to speculate about, you know what I mean? Like what they're gonna do and how they would do it. And I think there's any number of ways they could do
A
it, and it could
number
be
of ways
really
to do.
interesting and still be really good.
100%. The only other thing I'll say, like I know, so we can, because we can stay on this forever,
Of
is
course.
so right before Doomsday comes out, they are re-releasing Endgame
Correct.
back in theaters, which the rumor is there's going to be, an actual after credit
Additional scene.
scene
Yeah.
afterwards that's potentially going to set things up. So that easily could flip or everything on its head, because if it alters any, like, I can't say alter anything of Endgame, because after that, especially if we're doing it like, say, during the time frame where Cap has gone back and done all this, it, I guess in their standpoint, it wouldn't necessarily affect the timeline. And with the multi timelines that all exist now, like the story, like it could go any number of ways, but we got a year to go.
I mean, I'm going back to see the joint at theater again.
Oh no, I'm 100% going back and see that on the theater again.
I'm finna
All
be there.
3 hours of it.
Yeah, I'm finna be there. All right, so look, we're 2 days away from Christmas, and I feel like it's time for us to just kind of throw our hats in the ring on Christmas movies. What qualifies as a Christmas movie? Now I'm gonna start by saying I have allowed myself to get much more firmly in the camp of like Die Hard is clearly a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. Like, I'm gonna
It's
be
not, and
real.
you
Like,
know,
it's not.
listen, I've been on that box as well too. But then actually thinking about what would class like as soon as like to me now, after thinking about it, I feel like Christmas has to be at the heart of the movie, and it couldn't be something that you like. If let's say if we took out Christmas, if it absolutely destroys the foundation of whatever the story or whatever it is, it ain't a Christmas movie. I've
agree.
gotten to that point now. Now, if you can take Christmas out and plug in, it don't even matter. The 4th of July, and it still works. It's not a Christmas movie because you can just easily take it out and plug in something else for it.
I mean, I don't even think it has to be another holiday. Like, I just
Holiday,
feel like
yeah.
if it could just be another, like, all right, this is where I'm at. I have some criteria.
Mm-hmm.
I have 5 things that I think are necessary for a film to fall in the Christmas movie category.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all is the Christmas setting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So does the movie take place during Christmas? That's got to be part of it, I think, right? If you don't have that, you don't have anything. 2, like what you just said, Christmas plot dependency. Does Christmas actively drive the story,
Mm-hmm.
right? Christmas themes. Does it explore traditional Christmas ideas, right? So, like family and togetherness, redemption, forgiveness, hope, generosity, belief, which again can really be in anything, but they're
Mm-hmm.
themes that I feel like, kind of fit with Christmas. Um Christmas decorations, iconography, music. So
Mm-hmm.
how visibly, like from a visual standpoint and from an audio standpoint, how much does it feel like Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then the last one, the cultural association with Christmas. So
Mm-hmm.
do people watch this movie because
It's
it's Christmas?
Christmas.
Not because it's Christmas time in our world
Mm-hmm.
necessarily, but like, do people watch the film because it's Christmas in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
So, having said that, let's talk about some movies that have some Christmas settings
Mm-hmm.
and that are, I feel like, on like the controversial Christmas list.
Mm-hmm.
Die Hard.
Yep. I knew it was gonna be number one.
Like, we got to talk about Die Hard, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like Die Hard hits, let's say if it hits 3 out of the 5 criteria,
Mm-hmm.
we can put it in the like
In the Christmas movie basket. I'm good with that. I think 3 of 5 is the qualifying to get us to a Christmas movie.
all right. So it has a Christmas setting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's a Christmas party. If it wasn't a Christmas party,
why are
then
they there?
right.
Which means that it is a Christmas plot. There's a
Uh-huh.
dependency on Christmas being part of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's the Christmas party and that they are attacking during the Christmas party, like they know the people are going to be like, that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, people rewatch it because it's Christmas time.
Yep.
I think being in the Die Hard camp, I think we're good.
Yep.
All right.
So for all y'all, hey, listen, everyone in here was saying that that Jones a diehard. Like we had to work up to that. Like we were getting to it.
Yeah. Look, see,
That's it.
set in Christmas time, Christmas scene to start the movie, Christmas. Yeah, if you took away the Christmas party at Nakatomi Plaza, there's no Die Hard. I agree. Now, here's the thing. All the criteria fits. Like, real talk, like, if you think about it, like, there are a lot of Die Hard movies. None of the rest of them
don't have
themed. So, like, all of the rest of the things that make a Die Hard film still exist in all the rest of those movies. But in the first one, the plot is dependent on the fact that it's Christmas, like that they're there for a Christmas reason. Die Hard 3, it's a taxi movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a taxi movie. It's a revenge movie, but it's a taxi movie. All right. Let's try another one. Nightmare Before Christmas. Here's the thing, dog. It's in the title. I don't feel like we can. I don't really feel like.
I don't think you can argue that. I think when it's in the title, like if it has some form of a Christmas, like actually, I'll throw another one out there. Like take it way back, Miracle on 34th Street. Like that whole entire, like no, not necessarily title. If we want to go title, A Christmas Carol, we're going to use that one for a title. Clearly, that one is Christmas. Miracle on 34th Street, it just involves Santa. Santa's there. Like there's just no. It's a Christmas movie. So I doubt Santa's coming out during the middle of the summer.
Like, yeah, there's nothing about Miracle on 34th Street that I feel like it's controversial about whether or not it's a Christmas movie or not. You know what I'm saying? Nightmare Before Christmas, I think it is the only reason why it gets questioned is because people go, is it a Halloween movie or is it a Christmas movie? And truthfully, it's both. It's both. Both are appropriate and necessary, I feel like, for the plot. Gremlins.
That one has actually been brought up in the chat too.
Yeah.
Yep. Hold up. Where is? Let me find that one so I could throw it up on here. I think it was Tyrone. Yeah, it was Ty.
Hey, listen, Ty is my go-to. Look, it is Christmas specifically that causes the chaos. It's part of the movie. That joint is a Christmas movie through and through. Could you take Christmas out of it and still have, like, could it just be, I don't know, a birthday present instead of a Christmas? Yes, but it isn't. So that's a Christmas movie. All right, now listen.
Oh, Tom said it. Gizmo was a Christmas present.
Correct. Gizmo was a Christmas present. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a Christmas movie. Batman Returns. Our number 3 out of our top 10 live action DC films. Batman Returns. There are Christmas things everywhere. Yeah. Like, it's definitely happening during the season. I don't
fight.
What we doing?
Hold up. Here we go.
Angelo, why isn't Die Hard a Christmas movie? It literally fits all the criteria. You can't have Die Hard without Christmas. Again, you could swap story-wise. You could say they're having a office dinner party for any other occasion if you wanted to. You could technically be like, oh, that's the only reason why they're meeting. But it's not. It's a Christmas party. They're meeting for that reason. And they talk about it. Like, they talk about the fact that it's Christmas. So it's a Christmas movie with action. Look, here's the thing. Let me say this. I'm gonna plant myself much more firmly in the camp of a Christmas movie doesn't necessarily have to be a Hallmark feel good made for TV movie. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be that, right? It can be a comedy, it can be an action, it can be a horror like a Gremlins, right? Like it can be, and I think that's the thing that makes people go, "Well, this isn't a Christmas movie." Why? Well, because it's a horror movie, and you can't have a horror movie that's a Christmas movie. But what is Krampus?
That would be a Christmas movie.
I mean, it's a Christmas movie, dog.
That's a Christmas movie.
Now, Batman Returns, it takes place during Christmas time, but you could completely remove that from it to me and just be like, it's winter, and that movie is exactly the same. Like there's nothing about the plot technically that's driven by the fact that it's Christmas. I don't think Batman Returns qualifies just because it's happening during the time of year. I don't, but you might feel differently.
It just sets the ambiance a little bit better. I feel like during that time and what's going on, I think just don't get me wrong, Batman's most of it's during the night anyway, so it really doesn't really matter as much anyway.
I mean, in terms of like what the season is and the fact that it's like winter and it's snowing, like all could be done without ever touching. Like if you watch that movie and you remove any of the Christmas aesthetic, decorations and so forth, I think you're fine. You could probably have an AI go in and remove everything that makes it look like Christmas, and you wouldn't feel like you missed a beat in that movie. That's kind of how I feel about it. Edward Scissorhands.
Ooh.
It's probably been a long time. Have you ever seen Edward Scissorhands?
Absolutely.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Don't act like it's impossible for you to have not seen it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. There is a lot of Christmas in that movie late in the movie. I also want to say Tim Burton has a tendency, at least did, to have Christmas in his films. Nightmare Before Christmas, Batman Returns. There is a Pee-wee's Big Adventure has some Christmas in it. Like there are things about, but it being there doesn't necessarily mean it's a Christmas
movie. Yeah.
I don't think that Edward Scissorhands technically qualifies as a Christmas movie.
I will agree with that.
I would say.
I think just moving through, just to kind of establish, how long, he was with the family and all that. We kind of just moved through time a little bit to lead up to getting to Christmas. But like they could have skipped Christmas. It could have been any holiday than necessarily they were setting up for.
Yeah.
I mean, I get being out there, carving the ice sculptures and things. Like, yes, it's better to be able to do that during the time when it's cold and all of that for it. But where the house was at the end of the street, it just always seemed like it was just cold there anyway. So it seemed like it didn't matter whether it was Christmas or not. You could do that type of stuff at the house anyway.
I'd agree. All right, let me just do one more. Iron Man 3. It does have a Christmas setting. Which I guess in some manner has some Christmas themes, but I wouldn't say. I mean, look, I think that there is like that. Like, so again, the criteria, right? Having a Christmas theme. Does it explore traditional Christmas ideas, family and togetherness, redemption and forgiveness, like hope, generosity, belief? I think those things do exist within Iron Man 3. Like, I think him establishing the connection with I can't think of the little boy's name right now. But establishing that connection, kind of being a father figure in that space. There is kind of the like hopelessness, right? Like the suit is down. How do I get back home? What do I do to save pepper if I don't have this, and then like that restorative action of like this kid's got a garage where he can work and kind of put things together that he otherwise wouldn't have. Like I think there's some of that. Tony at the time is going through anxiety, and you have this kid who's kind of helping him through that. And I think that there are some themes throughout that exist as far as some of that's concerned. Christmas iconography, music.
Not a lot of music in there involved. And I feel like if you took the Christmas elements out of it, I feel like it's still, the movie is exactly the same. Like, even though
it could just be winter. It could really just be winter and it would be fine. It could have happened in February.
And it doesn't matter because because locations move so much in the movie. They could have easily gone someplace like a country where it was just cold and it snowed all the time. And then you were in like
he could have just landed in like a certain part of Canada, you know what I mean, or something like that, and had to get back like just as easily. I mean,
yeah, I don't think it qualifies. I think the elements are there, they're pieces, but you could take Christmas completely out of that movie and it still is the same Iron Man 3 movie that we already have.
I would agree. Do you have a favorite Christmas movie? Is there a movie that you watch like on Christmas or around Christmas every year that's just like, this is a staple, I have to do it? I'm gonna take that.
I don't know if I don't think I have a specific. I don't think I have a specific one. Like there's some movies that have the Christmas elements that sometimes when you watch it during the time, it just feels like it fits. Right. But I wouldn't necessarily say I have a go-to one. Like there's like, obviously I could say like Crazy Enough coming. They didn't do it during December, it's happening in January, but like Gundam Wing, the movie for Gundam Wing takes place during Christmas time, and it does have some of the feels and the vibes out of it. But if you take Christmas out of it, it's still a giant mech type of so it's still it doesn't fit. I know a lot of.
You tell me you watch the Gundam Wing movie every Christmas, I'm gonna call you a liar right now.
Crazy enough, you know what?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No. Hold on. No. It's not watching it. But if you go back, crazy enough, Facebook reminded me about this for like 3 years ongoing. Like I've always posted something about saying that Gundam Wing Endless Waltz is a Christmas movie. Like I literally have posted it. Facebook
you just talked yourself out of it.
I did, but I've been posting it. But then after having that conversation in the beginning where I was like talking about like if I could pull Christmas out of it and it still is the same movie, then it kind of but it just feels right to watch it because there's Christmas elements. That's about it.
Look, I used to make it a point to make sure I watch like the claymation, like animated Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer every year. I would always watch like a Charlie Brown Christmas every year. Not necessarily on Christmas, but just like in that time, in the spirit of things, like when they came on TV. But then like a couple of years ago or whatever, when like Apple bought the peanuts and like, or bought the license and locked it down to like, I was like, absolutely not. Right. And obviously that's changed. We just
Sony now
bought the peanuts, which is all right.
Whatever. Funny enough, Angelo was like, did a full rewatch of Gundam Wing this year. You ready then? Yeah,
well, you didn't feel any Christmas spirit during
probably not. Well, you ready for? I hope you try to get, or you're getting tickets for Endless Waltz in theaters next month because they are releasing Endless Waltz in theaters in 4K for the first time. So,
I mean, let's make it a thing.
It's already a thing. I say we. I have already secured tickets. And there's certain other people have already been put on notice, and they just gotta tell us.
When I said let's, I didn't mean me. I didn't mean me. I don't mean me. I have zero interest in going. Like I have zero. Now, will I go? Yes.
Yeah. Just be the
ticket. No. I'm not buying a ticket for that. It's not happening. I'm not doing it. if somebody's like, oh no, you should go, cool. You should get me a ticket. If you feel like I should go, you should make sure I get there. Like I'm not doing that. I'm not buying that ticket. But like, yeah, I mean, yeah, if you feel like, if you feel like bringing people together, Jokes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll watch
and
that
you
theater
gotta
launch.
know I will watch the theater launch as well for sure. See,
Yeah.
you gotta make it happen. Make it happen.
January 12th.
That's so soon. That's super soon. That's MagFest soon. Yeah, man. Like there was a time when I used to always watch like It's a Wonderful Life. I would watch Christmas Story, Miracle on 34th Street. Like I would get into all the classic stuff. Home Alone, I didn't watch every year at Christmas, but I used to watch it a lot. Like just as a whole. Now they're talking about doing a new Home Alone. Polar Express for a few years when the kids were younger. You know what I mean? Polar Express, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And recently, for me personally, dog, I've said this many times. I don't think Will Ferrell is funny, but
Elf,
that joint is incredible. That's an incredible film, and I'll be honest, it might be his best movie. No, that might be his best movie. It might be Elf. I remember seeing the Santa Claus in theaters when that came out. I think there's too many of those now.
Was it 4 of
National
them?
Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Used to watch that every year. Muppet Christmas Carol. Used to watch that every year. Like there definitely are some, but I have generally over the years been more in the space of what I consider more traditional Christmas movies, movies like the ones we just mentioned. Even though I do think some of the other ones that we talked about earlier, meet. But look, I think we got some pretty solid criteria. And I think as long as a movie meets the criteria, it is. Fact of the matter is, if you feel good watching that movie during the holiday, sure, that's your Christmas jam. You know what I mean? That's your feel good movie. That makes you feel like if that's what you put on when you wrap presents at the last minute on December 24th, then you know what? By all means, you know what I mean? Do your thing. Because I sure enough don't watch Independence Day every Independence Day, but
It's on
feels like
TV. If
Independence
you
Day,
decide
I
to go
watch
watch it, go watch it.
it. It always is. Every Independence Day, that thing is on. All right, look, it's time to wrap the show up. Listen, I want to wish everyone a very happy holiday, whatever you celebrate, however you celebrate. Please do so safely. Enjoy your time with your loved ones. Hug them, kiss them, hold them, tell them how you feel about them. Make sure you get a chance to spend that quality time as best you can with the folks that are closest to you or mean the most to you. I want to thank you all for taking the time to hang out with us this evening on this wonderful Tie Tuesday. We really appreciate you. Again, you could be doing anything else, and you might be doing anything else. You could be streaming something else while you're doing this, or playing a game while you're watching this, or listening in the background while you're cleaning, or wrapping gifts. You might be doing that too. And so as much as we appreciate everybody who tunes in, we have a lot of love for those who drop comments and interact with us during the show, because that always makes the show better, and we have a really good time in doing so. We never forget the lurkers. We have a high appreciation for all of you who take the time to tune in, but maybe don't have the time or aren't in front of a keyboard, or maybe aren't even fast enough to make comments that somebody else made before you, or whatever it is. So one more time, shout out to the lurkers. You're just as important. You still make the show go. So thank you for that. Jokes. Before we get out of here, do you have anything you want to say holiday wise or whatever in terms of wishing people,
Happy holidays, just like he said, enjoy it. Spend that time with the loved ones. I will tell you this on Christmas Day, for my Pokemon fans, I am dropping a special Ripping with Jokes on Christmas Day. Unpacking 37 packs of Phantasmal Flames. So
my man opening his Christmas gifts real early.
Hey, listen, for those that want to enjoy that will be available for you to watch on Christmas Day. But of course, yeah, just spend the time with the family, have a safe, happy holidays. enjoy it. That's the easiest way to just say it.
Indeed. We're gonna take this one out a little bit differently than we normally do. I just want to let everybody know that I think it's really, really important to live your bloopers and fix it in post. And all that means is you're gonna make mistakes, but go live life, learn from them. You can always adjust later on. With that, we're out. Tools and Lose.